We are live here tonight with MKC Primetime at Night
Woo-woo!
featuring a Division 3 matchup between Version 2 against Dynamite. My name is Spicy and I'm joined on the mic by Mr. DK Mountain himself, Bubbles. Bubbles, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's good to be here. There's a lot going around in the sports world tonight, but in the esports world, it's prime time, baby. We got a really good matchup here for you all tonight. Version 2 in against Dynamite. Spicy, what's at stake here?
Well, if you're version 2, you're looking at the fact that you're already at 2-2 on the season. A win here gets you on the road to playoffs. They're already still in the playoff picture, fighting for that last wild card spot. You want to start beating the teams that you have to beat. Dynamite, on the other hand, currently 0-4 on the season, really trying to reverse the story here, get some momentum, and build for a potential playoff run. We talked about this earlier before we went live, but it's still definitely comebackable. One game at a time is really all that matters here. And with the lineup Dynamite has tonight, I think they have the potential to do so to make that start to this second half of their season.
It's a long climb for Dynamite, but it has to start sometime and it has to start soon. And why not tonight? Dynamite 0-4 has a lot of work to do, but against version 2, this might just be the opening that they need to take advantage of. CC, Delta, Dylan, Nick, Orochi, and Rog playing tonight for Dynamite. Not as high on the individuals table as version 2 is, but version 2 coming out with Byron, Frank Ocean, Moodin, Panda, Paradox, and the BLJ Elite. They have lots of top spots on the individual scoreboard. They've been playing very well. They're 2-2, but the record doesn't show it. Their two losses are only to the two teams that are still undefeated. So if I'm a betting man, I take version 2. But I think Dynamite might have an upper hand here because they're playing with desperation. They need this one.
Yeah, and I love the call out on desperation there. Knowing that, yes, it's still comebackable, but we have to start getting that comeback now to the second half of the season. If you're trying to fight for that last playoff spot, that desperation really does kick into play, especially knowing that you are 0-4 here. V2 definitely does have a lot more flexibility because they have a better record. They only lost to teams that were undefeated, as you mentioned, being
Yep.
YFO
Yes.
and We Elite Clan. So it's for them, yeah, they have the flexibility, but you don't want to underestimate teams that have a worse record than you. You've seen this plenty of times, not only in MKU, but you've seen this in like the real sports world as well. As a callback out to that, you've seen teams blow 3-1 leads all the time. Might happen again tonight if we're giving us for foreshadowing. But this is gonna be interesting here. One thing I also want to point out is for Dynamite, there is no Haza. Haza, I think, was their top individual scorer for Dynamite throughout the season and averaging like a 93.3. So not having your top scorer is going to be make things a bit difficult for them potentially here, but it's still a very solid lineup, as you mentioned. CC, Delta, Dylan, Nick, Orochi, Rog, definitely still capable here, but especially going up against version 2, one of the premier teams in terms of like time trialing, especially you have Panda, you have Byron, but also a lot of like great individual players that are coming up, all representing Australia too. So really excited for this matchup here and eventually excited to get back into it.
It's going to be a lot of fun watching these individual stars on version 2 show what they can do. But it is a team game, 6 versus 6. And in the world of Mario Kart, a lot of different things can happen. Every item box is an opportunity. And it's that team play that we see is so important to these people. And Dynamite, without their top scorer, Haza, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But if they pull together as a team, at the end of the day, any team can win any match at Mario Kart. And tonight, anyone can win. We shall see.
Yeah, definitely anyone can win here, and I think to go off on the team play aspect, I think the best thing about like the prime times, especially the prime times at night, we're getting a chance to watch teams that you don't normally get to see. Version 2 obviously playing in Australia, meaning they typically play and Eastern night times, the US night times, for them it's Sunday morning if I'm correct. So
Yes.
getting a chance to see like these teams is gonna be a great chance to see like the team play. Because really, as you climb up in divisions, you really start to notice like the difference that team play makes. And like, yes, there are still amazing individual scores, amazing individual players when it comes to the racing, when it comes to the lines. But you will really see that there's the coordination aspect really comes into play. The use of shot calls, the way teams bag, and the way like you see the difference in like strategy and like track picking. I'm excited to see how what happens here, where you have especially a team like Dynamite knowing that maybe they because they don't have Hansa, they're gonna have to play that more team focused route, and that really can shine, especially here in Division 3, where I'm starting to notice like Depth really does matter here, especially if you want to make a comeback or really beat a team that you're not able to beat for version 2. They definitely have the top presence to do it, but there's a lot of talent overall on that roster. So this is going to be an amazing match. I know we've probably both agreed that version 2 is likely the favorite here, but definitely still have a lot of upset potential, especially with a team who's desperate to get on the winning side of things like Dynamite.
Dynamite tonight, there's no other way of saying it. They have to find a way. And what I really want to see from Dynamite, we talk about the team play, we talk about the shot calls, the dodges, the coordination. What I really want to see from Dynamite tonight is the mid pack play. I want to see a lot of aggression with shells, fire, boomerangs, solidify those mid spots because version 2 has a lot of solid front running power and Dynamite maybe not as much. I don't know the teams very well, but I have to give the benefit of the doubt here to version 2. If Dynamite can hold down the mid pack and get consistent points through third, fourth, sixth, etc., I think they have a decent chance at this. I think the key tonight will be mid pack play.
Ooh, I like that. There's a thing in the collegiate Mario Kart community known as the Oklahoma Special, where if you just dominate the mid pack, regardless of what happens in tops, you can still win out here. And I think we're gonna start seeing some great open track picks here. Looking at Grumble Volcano and Music Park. What are your thoughts on these two courses here?
I don't play much Grumble, but I assume it's a mid spot pick. Music Park, very heavy front runner, favors people starting in the front. I'm not sure who's hosting, but I think I see some version 2 Mii's picking Music Park, so I think they're the host. They have a lot of front top spots, and if they get this Music Park pick, it could be really dangerous for Dynamite already. This first race is going to set the tone. It's going to set the momentum, and a lot of this game is mentality. Coming back
Yes.
from a bad race, and if the first race is bad, it's the hole that you're being dug into, and it depends on how well you can come back from that. A lot of this game is mental. I don't think a lot of people talk about that. There's the individual skill, there's the team play, but there's the mentality. You start getting down about what happens during these races, it's really hard to come back from.
Hard agree. You will hear me touch upon that a lot in the on the mental aspect side of things. As someone with a degree in psychology, I will always have to vouch for that. And someone who's really interested in the depths of sports psychology. But it does look like we're finally going to get started here tonight with Prime Time at Night, opening it up with 3DS Music Park RMP. It does look like that version 2 is going to be the team hosting, and which means it is their running spot. We do see CC having her in second place here, repping the Birdo on Scooty. Gonna see how things open up here. Gonna see who's gonna be able to what we have here. Because like Music Park, of course, very much defined by how this opening shapes up. Moonin already pulled up a shroom. It's gonna be potentially good here, but CC already starting that trail into first place. Gonna start using that Scooty potential skill here just to get those extra mini turbos. Gotta keep that trail, go into double, trying to hold first place as long as possible because it does look like a lot of V2 might still be in those top spots. Does get a trail off here as well. Moonin still in first, CC in second here. Still gonna go into that next double. Gonna try and still fight for this opening spot here. Really, for lap one. So a lot can happen here in this first race.
What a lap one, and that really sets the tone for the rest of the race. I believe we have
Ooh.
random green taking out first. This could be really important. I think I'm seeing Cece and her teammates in Dynamite in the white colors, or mostly white and blue, and I believe version 2 is choosing black. I can't confirm yet, but it feels like a chess match, and the opening moves have been made. And right now, Dynamite is winning.
Yes, Dynamite winning, especially note that this is version 2's pick, and this is going to be potentially really good for Dynamite to get that momentum early. Double defense in first place for CC is really good as seeing her just chain these mini turbos, really make great use of the extra abilities that Scooty offers here with these extras, but the
Off dodge?
UMP could fall off dodge. I love the call out there. It's an amazing way because now you still have the double defense in first place, and it does look like a lot of Dynamite still has top spots. This looks like a potentially great spot for them here on this lap 3.
Double defense in first, not even looking behind her. She must have all her teammates behind her. The end of this race, I'm looking at the mid pack. There's a little bit of potential for version 2 to catch back up, but I think it might be too little too late.
Yeah, I think it's a bit too little too late as we do see CC take first place here. I think if the White Birdos are all Dynamite, we are going to see a lot of DY up in these tops. And you do see a top four. And it's a massive start for them here on this race one. Top four is an absolutely great way to open up here in this chess game, as you've been calling it.
That's exactly what they need. This is the opener of legend for Dynamite. 0-4 in the standings right now. This is exactly the start they've been looking for. Very strong. They get the shock. They figure out a brilliant way to use it, probably very fast. Very well executed, very well played from beginning to end, especially from CC.
For sure, yeah, and you're gonna see how this translates now because we're watching Dynamite now open up as well with Daisy Cruiser to follow that up. If they get this, this has become one of the biggest running tracks in the game, arguably like the booster course version of Wario Stadium. Meanwhile, you are looking at RMC Retro Mario Circuit from V2. Instead, we are going to Daisy Cruiser here, another course where I think Bitty Buggy Mr. Scooty does really well here just to get those extra mini turbos. And with the top four presence that Dynamite has right now, this is going to be absolutely insane, honestly.
Again, another front running heavy track, just like Music Park. The first half of the first lap is by far the most important. Dynamite is starting top four. Let's see how well they can hold those top four spots by the end of this lap. And then let's check the minimap and see how they're doing. Very momentum based going into this track. It's so important for Dynamite to establish a foothold in this match. Let's see how they do.
Yes, and you're the bomb in first place. This is an absolutely critical defensive item to have here, especially now also with Dylan in second for DY. This is looking to maintain a great front hold presence. You're seeing a lot of these mini turbos being chained repeatedly here. And now this bomb is such a deadly presence here. You could really have a lot of different ways like split up here. Maybe even argue someone should go bottom path just to break the presence here, especially if it looks like that V2 starts to catch up, which I don't know if they're going to be able to do so yet without with the way their CC is playing, the way Dynamite is finally happening. But you do see Byron, whose POV we have switched onto, is now bagging, has the blue shell, immediately throws it just to get a dent into CC's run, but CC has a phenomenal run so far. Now just trying to see how to burn through this golden. Nothing doesn't have defense in here for CC though. So CC is going to get blued, but with that kind of lead on lap 3, and especially with DY just hanging in there in the back, I don't know if that's going to matter too much.
There's the team play. The teammates are right there behind her, as if to say, we're right here behind you, supporting you on this running track. But there's a shot. Let's see who comes up.
Oh, and that's Rog also staying in there, but still multiple tops for the side of DY. That YOLO green comes out, and there's more greens in 5th place. This could still be a top 2, 5, 6, which would be very big here. Paradox maybe getting hit out, maybe not so much instead, but I think that's still a very good race for Dynamite here. Yes, top 2, 5, 6, 7, 11. Another great way to capitalize on this momentum, and Dynamite is absolutely playing on fire here in these first 2 races.
They're playing this so well. I'm not sure whose shock that was, but it felt like it was overdue. Like it was in the works for a while. We see 2 people from each team coming up. I believe they all finished in the top 4. So version 2 was able to come back a little bit and break into those top spots, but another top 2 for Dynamite. This is definitely going their way so far, and we see version 2 with another Mario Circuit pick to try and turn this around.
Yeah, and you're seeing Dynamite picking Hyrule Circuit, the prototypical top 2 track here. Shout out to Swag 2 Electric, if you know, you know. Now, going here, it does look like we are going to be landing on Hyrule Circuit. Top 2, you know the opening strategy. First place takes left coins, second place takes right coins, and the people in 5, 6 or the lower spots are able to get Shroom cut up as well. And so this becomes a really strong course for them here. Meanwhile, V2 is also going to be trying to pull up those Shrooms, just trying to break through these tops because Dynamite, the way they've been holding their tops and the team play, as you've been mentioning, has just been doing them wonders here, being able to just support their top presence and really allow any of their players to get this front run. Gonna watch as a lot of drafts happening up. CC getting hit out, unfortunately, here, and does look like a bottom 2 for Dynamite. Now just obviously still have a lot of ways to go, but now just trying to see how this opening section is going to shape up here. The pack still looks very close. A lot of things could have a chance to be happening here, as a lot of players now just trying to make their way back up. The bomb does fall. This is Mooden does get hit out here. CC now having shrooms. Gonna try and take cut here. Doesn't need to. Nisk has the shrooms. Now gonna be able to just move her way up into 7th place, just and try to fight her way back up into these higher spots.
The momentum Dynamite has been broken on that lap 1. It's been going all this entire war, but it's been finally broken, and now version 2 is up in those front spots. And now this is where it gets dangerous. This is where you see the mettle of Dynamite being tested. We saw them in a lot of bottom spots at the end of lap 1. How do they come back? How do they keep getting solid races? Oh no. Was that a team kill?
That's an unfortunate team kill. Yes, even at Division 3, you will still see those happen, but we hope that doesn't do too much for V2. But instead, we do see Dynamite fight their way up in the top 2. CC, after getting hit out early, is now fought her way into 2nd place, but that Banana Slave might have connected, or Lag just said no. Otherwise, it looking like a top 2 for Dynamite still, looking like a 3-4 for V2. Triple greens in play, though, could make things potentially interesting here. Very dangerous situation indeed. Seeing a lot of things here as we go into this final. This does look like CC does get hit out here, and now Panda and Byron in 2-3. This is going to be very good here. The blue does come out. Looks like it was being held by Dynamite, but this Panda might have gotten hit out at the end. This is going to be an interesting ending results screen. We do see the 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 11 for V2. Dynamite still maintains first though.
Wow. What an ending sequence. Did CC have triple shells around her at the end and still got hit by a green? What a shot to be able to break through that defense in that height of a corridor. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't think 2nd or 3rd qualifies as mid-pack play, but the offensive items and usage of those, especially in the last half of lap 3, is so important. We saw Dynamite's momentum going into that race broken up immediately as version 2 broke into the top spots. But Dynamite was able to claw their way back, all the way back up to the top. Didn't get another top 2 as they had the previous race. But version 2 is, even though they're not getting track picks so far, they're showing they got that fight in.
Yeah, and that fight is really helping them now. V2 did get a positive 8 in that last race, and that's a good thing for momentum. It's a theme we've been coming back to over and over again. We are still in the first Grand Prix here, so a lot can still happen. Now we are going into Madrid Drive. I think this was V2's pick, and then
Yes.
Dynamite did pick DKJ. I do like Madrid a lot in the 2, 3, 5, 6, 7-ish spots here. Able to just hit out first, or just draft up mate and get the run for yourself here. Now this is opening section is really interesting. Gotta see what Rog pulls, or if anyone drafts up here. Byron trying to draft up as well, and by that red trail is going to make this very difficult here, as BLJ has found himself into a top spot. Byron instead though hitting the tables there, not gonna have much to do. Instead having the bag for coins instead, and unfortunately hitting the banana in the process as well. Gonna have to play from the back, it looks like, but hey, with a potential to pull shock, that would be insane here, and that could really change the pace of the game, especially with how far back Byron is, where coin management is just going to be absolutely paramount. Just getting any items you can to catch up with this kind of lead, and that blue shell could be interesting, but it does look like, I think if the black Yoshis are V2, that
Yes.
might mean, yeah, Byron's going to have to hold this for quite a while, which is unfortunate here. He's going to have 9 coins, but now having to really hold this blue shell, especially in bottom 2, this could be a really interesting situation now for V2.
Byron made the right call doing what he did way in the back. It's always advantageous to have somebody in the back, either to keep eyes on what the other team is planning, if they're going for shocks, holding dodges, etc., or getting the lightning bolt. So it's such a powerful item, and that's where the team play comes. He wasn't able to get up to the front, but he knows his role. He knows he's a part of this person team. And so now he's doing his part by not only getting, but holding the blue shell. Oh, actually, here it comes.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe Shock's in play or if there's a horde up in first place, which it could be things interesting because you do see Rog has this red shell in second here. Doesn't look like we saw any dodges, but I do think, we do see the Shock come into play eventually. Now, this is going to shake things up a lot because I do see a couple Birdos in dodge at that point, meaning DY might have a chance to shake up these standings. Now, with a 3-4-5 situation, triple reds in play here. A lot of triples in the mid pack here. 3 through 6 is looking like a very scary situation to be in if you're in the middle spots. I do think V2's gonna be able to hold on to first here, but a lot of chaos is happening, a lot of carnage as multiple players get hit out at the end, and Cece has found her way into fourth place there. Top two still for V2, but 3, 4, 5, 6 at least for Dynamite. What an ending to that race.
That's that mid pack play coming out again, right and on the pitch at the very end of section 3. We have so many triple shells for Dynamite. We have nanas revolving and stars coming up for version 2. It's that mid pack play that we keep coming back to. Version 2 had the top spots. They earned it. They earned the top 2. And I honestly couldn't make out really what was going on. There were so many bodies flying around, carts flipping. Somebody call a goddamn tow truck because there's just a full-on pileup right before the finish line. But that result was positive, I believe, for was that version 2 or Dynamite? It was a difference of not much of a difference, I don't think, as we get the score coming in.
Yeah, I don't know if it was much of a difference. Top two definitely does help V2 there, but yeah, a lot of mid pack in favor of Dynamite. So I don't know the score. It was an even race,
Yeah.
which is the best way to put it, honestly. But now we are going to Grumble Volcano. This is a course that really does favor Dynamite here in those 3 through 6 positions, being able to draft up and really just make their way up and break through the enemy tops here. Because once you get up into after this drafting section, this is a very runnable course, honestly. Just gonna have a chance to break through, get and really maintain positions up here. But these opening drafting sections, this first play into the volcano and out of it, you see all these drafts happening in this mid-pack play. No triples that we see in this time though, but now just seeing what he's going to be able to do here. Going to opt to go for the boost panel here, the faster strat. Going to see a couple of players just getting hit out. We are looking at a multiple mid-pack situation again for Dynamite. The top spots are being held pretty tightly though. So it's a really close pack indeed, but you do see a lot of eyes in the back now on that mini map, just trying to see what's going to be happening there, because while the pack is tight, a lot of stuff could definitely happen, especially with a lot of triple greens coming out in the play. Delta having it in third place. 2-3-4 situation for Dynamite. Dick getting hit out in the process as well. Unfortunate happenings right there. CC though, with 4 shrooms in second, this could be really interesting as the race develops.
I'm looking at the mini map here, and version 2 has first and a lot of the bottom spots, which on a track like this, I think is pretty powerful. But you see again, Dynamite in mid pack, there's the shock. Most likely from version 2, looked fairly neutral. There's a Peach that dodged, that's Dynamite actually. Maybe they're shock. They're moving up. See if they can break into the very tippy top of the race here.
Yeah, and the tip top has been held by V2 Paradox pretty steadily. Paradox being the third scorer on version 2 this season, and holding top still very strong after what presumes to be a Dynamite shock. Now this ending section is going to be massive. That bomb comes up, that's in the lava instead. Dynamite has found themselves into a top 2 situation, and now with double defense in the side of second, this is looking very good for Dynamite here, as they're going to be able to round this corner. You do see someone take the cut at the end. Frank gonna try and save the day. Panda getting hit out at the end, CZ getting hit out at the end, and a lot of players just getting killed out, but it does look like that V2 has maybe taken first place. Yeah, they took 1-4-5 and then the 9-2. Gonna hurt things a bit, but having that 1 does help a little bit there. Dynamite getting 2-3 once again though.
It's so exciting to watch the 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 parts of the races that I love the most from these two teams are the first like 15 seconds and like the last 10 seconds. That's where all the action is. When and arguably the most important parts of the race. The first half of lap 1, you set the tone. You try to get to the front, you establish a front presence, and from there you try to hold it as long as you can. And usually with these teams being as good as they are in Division 3 rather, they're able to do that. And at the very end, we see how important the backs are, the shells, the fire, the shrooms, the shortcuts, the individual skills, and team plays. I can only imagine how hectic it is on these voice comms as people try and figure out how to get their team members up to the front.
I would imagine it's the beauty of competitive Mario Kart, I think, personally,
Yes,
when you
the
do
chaos.
see the chaos and the comms. And I think that separates it so much from like other esports. Like, yes, the comms are very prevalent in other games too. But when you have 6 players in a call at the same time over Mario Kart of all things, it really does shape up into a beautiful aspect as we shape into go into TikTok clock. Very strong runner here for V2. First place able to get into those double items there with that first set and on the hands now. And you see Frank now in first place, getting redded out potentially here by CC. Does look like they have some form of defense though, but that's a second red though at this point. Let's see if they're gonna be able to hold up for much longer. Not doesn't seem like it though, as CC still in second place. Now having another red, having a Shroom also in play. Now you do see a lot of people going for this Nisk, and at this level, a lot of the success rate is very high. Understandable. That bomb up could make things interesting though. Don't know if that connected on anyone back there, because maybe it did hit out a V2 player, which could make things interesting. But Frank still in first place here, and if they're able to just maintain this run, this is going to be very good for V2 here.
That bomb from Frank was so scary, so expertly done. She made it look easy. And that's what separates the good players from the mediocre players. CC is really showing us why she's one of the top players for Dynamite and why they're depending on her so much this event to score well. Oh, that's a thing? I didn't know that was a Bill spot.
That's a notable boost. And you also see a shock dodge here, too. That build still lasted forever there. Nick also dodged, though, in the process. But Byron now with a golden in third place. There is a red shell in play from Nick, I think that is. And now the golden is gone, but now the fire's out of play. And now there's a Shroom also in first place in case of getting hit out here. This is interesting. You do see the Kusan slides coming out here, maybe a bit of a miss on some aspects, but Byron's still holding on to first place. Now, this is a very scary situation here. Having fire still in play to potentially hold off on anyone coming up here, but it does look like Byron should be able to take first in with some style as well with the Kusan slide off there. And it's a big top 4, 6, 8 for V2 as they are starting to claw their way back into this game.
Wow. What a race from V2. It started with Frank's presence at the front. Frank held it down so well up in the front, did it long enough to where the rest of the team was able to catch up lap 3. With so many people dodging, it was hard to tell who used that shock. But that just goes to show the expertise of both teams in both using the shock to dodge their own teammates and the opponent's awareness of the potential for it to be used and to get themselves out of harm's way. And the version 2 was definitely able to do expertly.
That was a result in a huge race for V2 there. That's a plus 34. The war has turned into a 10-point difference at the end of the first half. And with the way that Dynamite started, who would have thunk it, honestly? That was actually only the second winning race for V2 this entire war. But now we are on Waluigi Stadium. Of course, that's really strong for these like middle lower spots that Dynamite has, being able to take that Shroom and just shroom up in this cut. Well, all of V2 just has to take Nisk if they want to keep up here. Do you see Byron though? Probably going to be able to maintain first for just a bit longer here. You're going for Nisk as well. Now, only on one coin might make things a bit difficult here, but you do see now the ramp strats, which really does define a lot of this gameplay here on Waluigi Stadium. Really a lot of mid-pack play now, but you do see that top 2 has worked their way up into Dynamite favor.
This is exactly what Dynamite wanted to see out of this first lap. Take the shortcut, start with a higher coin count. Byron's only on 2 coins. There are not many coins available on this track. Not much money being printed on the track, but the red shell does help cut the lead. CC still holding down the fort in first, probably with a higher coin count than Byron, but we shall see. I don't think anybody's at shock or blue distance That's definitely a game changer. But the pack is starting to spread out a bit. I'm feeling something's going to happen at the start of lap 3, and we'll see who makes the big move.
And that's a just a big move. You do see a big miss from Byron, but that
Skip.
red skipping was huge there. And then a shock as well that whoever was in Ghost and Star is going to make this very interesting here. But I do see a Dynamite dodge, which makes this really good for Dynamite. They're going to be able to hold on to these top spots. A lot of DY up here, and I presume that is CC still in first place. Now Byron still has the Shroom, going to be able to take this cut up ahead then and try to hold off, but you do see a lot of Dynamite also just being able to shroom up here. And the coin count, once again, you mentioned this before, there's not a lot of coins if you take the optimal routes here on Waluigi Stadium. But now, once again, seeing DC in third place, but look at who's in top 2, the rest of Dynamite as well. Dynamite is in a top 4 situation now on Waluigi Stadium, and this track pick is looking to be a phenomenal move for them as they're looking to go up this ramp and just but a statement to start off this second half with a multiple top situation. I think that's at least a top 4. Now, as we do see a top
Top
5,
5.
12. Huge race for Dynamite right there.
Oh man, we were talking about momentum, but this is what I'd love to see. The back and the forth. These teams are exchanging heavy blows. It feels like there's no defense, only haymakers. This is the Mario Kart we like to see. Dynamite were able to use the track pick, not only the track pick, the shock so well to catapult their players up to the front. We saw it on the first lap. We were able to turn a enemy top 4 into a Dynamite top 2 by the end of the first lap. And even though one of them got hit out, at the back, Dylan most likely got the shock, dodge up our teammates, and the team play by Dynamite today is immaculate. The mid-pack play, as we saw in Madrid and Waluigi Stadium, they might have something here. They're really feeling it.
They are feeling it indeed, but I think this is where we see, I think, the first big change of pace race in this war we are going to see here on race 8 to end out the second GP. Cheeseland is one of the most notorious baggers in this game. There are so many off-road shortcuts, especially near the end. There's that Bill extension at the start of the race there on that first set. So you're going to see that a lot of the top spots are going to be shaken up because everyone's going to start moving their way backwards, going up here at this first set, just staying in the back and trying to pull those items, pull those dodges, because not only will there most likely be one shock, there's likely going to be multiple here. So this opening section where you're just seeing everyone fight for coins, seeing the couple of brave souls running it in the front just to make sense that their teammates can get those item plays happening. You see some slow starrings as you just saw right there. Everyone just camping at these sets. And you look at the distance we already see here in this opening lap.
Oh, sorry. I saw it was Cheeseland, and I just took a nap for the first lap. But now that lap 1 is done, sorry, a bad joke. We can see some things getting started. This mini map is always wild to look at. Look at it. Who is where? It kind of feels like I'm looking at a mini map of Yoshi Valley. There's the first shock.
Yeah, and I love we had to say first shock.
Yeah, first shock. There's still plenty of time for another one. V2 and Bull extension, there were so many dodges. Again, so hard to tell who used it. But when you have a shock, you just have to use it, especially since it's in play for both teams. You have to be the one to pull the trigger, even if it means dodging 3 of the other team. And now is the exciting part. Lap 3 of Cheeseland. Here we go.
Yeah, and this bullet bill extension is gonna kick us off here as Byron is already making their way in the 4th place, and you know with this bullet bill, it's gonna take it all the way across this turn and around the glider, and has found himself into top 3 now. The Ghost is gonna offer a really good invincibility item here, especially in case of a second shock, which we haven't seen happen yet. Now, this is where everyone's starting to cut up here, and this is not gonna pull Shroom though, unfortunately, only pulling red shells. But you do see BLJ move up into 3rd though, and I think Dylan, has gone in 2nd. So there's a really interesting mix-up of shape of courses, but 1, 3, 4, 6 is big for V2. We are once again seeing just these huge. It's basically just a heavyweight fight here right now. You're seeing knockdown
Another
after
haymaker
knockdown. Yeah,
being
another
thrown by
haymaker
V2.
indeed.
But was there any plan there? Is there ever any plan in Cheeseland, or did that just happen to work out for version 2? Like I'm trying to break this down in my head, but Cheeseland is so hard to digest. No pun intended.
Yes.
But I feel like I'm just watching a circus. It's kind of like a bigger baby park, in my opinion. Very fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, but the strategy is to me just get a bill and use it at the extension. Is it not? And did
Yep.
version 2 just happen to get more bills?
Nope,
But
that's kind
regardless,
of what happened. Yeah.
this is Mario Kart, and we love the randomness factor, the X factor, the items, and all the opportunities that it gives each individual player. And that race, there is no doubt, version 2 won it out. They played it better.
Indeed, and that's a big positive as we go into this last GP. Only a 22-point difference. We've seen big races happen before, and we do see the PP Cove pick here from V2, I think, actually. Shout out
Yes,
to,
they like this
shout out
track.
to,
Version
yeah,
2 likes a lot of Wave 6 tracks. I think we can expect them to pick DK Mountain sooner or later. But for now, we are on Piranha Plant Cove.
yeah, I would not be surprised to see a DK Mountain pick either here, but now you're seeing Panda and Byron founding themselves in the top two, and I think Frank is also up in this top spots as well. This is looking like a great section here, especially because we know this about Piranha Plant Cove, where if you're just able to maintain these top spots, you really can break away after this first lap, after you take all these massive cuts. If you're able to just build up enough of a lead before the ending sections, you can just run away here. A big section now, just trying to see at the end lap one, how is it shaking up? It does look like we have a 3-4 from Dynamite now. Gonna try and see if they're gonna be able to make the most of it. The Panda is basically just on a time trial here. Meanwhile, if you're DY looking at CC, it's a 3-4-5 here. One of their players getting back there, never mind. Instead, now we have the Horn in fourth place. They have a Green in third. Not a ton of offensive potential at this rate, especially with the way that the top two is holding on strong between Panda and Byron. Gonna see an unfortunate
All
miss
off dodge.
there. Oh, another fall off dodge again
That was on
instead. Yeah.
purpose. I was like, this is too bad to be an accident. Well played again, the fall off dodge. The second time we've seen it. But like you said, if there's anyone we want to see for version 2 in the front on Piranha Plant Cove, it's Panda. But there's a lot of red shells in play. We'll see
Yeah,
what
another one
happens.
just
And
gets thrown up.
if CC can break into first, Birdo Celebration, here she comes. This is going to be close.
Oh.
Blue shell.
Oh, that blue shell's massive because it's going to end up hitting, I think, another player on V2 still.
On
So this
Panda.
is, with the second shock. And another player dodges from Dynamite. Nick has found himself in the first place. A lot of tops from the side of Dynamite as well. They're in a top four situation as we round this final section here. Top five make that instead. And now this is huge. The Ghost comes out into play, and there are Shrooms in the pack for V2. But look at this ending cut here. And now that's still a huge race potentially for Dynamite if the results held as strong as they did. And that's a massive turnaround after what we saw, a strong front run, a big top 3, 6, 9, 10. V2 getting bot 2 on Piranha Plant Cove, and that's the way we kick off this last GP.
This is Dynamite's strength. This is what I was looking for. Panda held the lead on this track, a track he's known for being very good at, the entire race until that blue shell on section 3. Dynamite was able to do the mid-pack play that we've been wanting to see from the shock calls. They've been getting the shock. They've been using it well. CC with the very creative, innovative shock dodges with the fall off dodge. We saw one on Music Park. Now we see it again. I wouldn't have even thought of that. This is the high level play that Dynamite needs. They're going to push through and finally win one in their division, which they so sorely need. And right now, they're up by quite a bit, which is really good.
Yes, it is really good, but we are going to Sunset Wilds, just like Cheeseland, another course that's really good at just for bagging, because there's a lot of off-road prevalence here. A great way to reset the spots. for version 2 here with 3 races left to go. You don't need a home run right away, but you do want to start chipping away at that lead with some like decent sized races, and getting a big race here on race 10 will be absolutely critical. You are going to see that a couple of Dynamite do opt to run. I do think this is one of the more runnable baggers in this game, especially with this cut you can do right here, as CC does demonstrate for us here. And now this does offer a chance, especially with double defense and this other Nisk as well. Dynamite has still found themselves into a multiple top situation, but once again, we saw it on Cheeseland. You see the pack start to spread out again. So we know that 30 seconds are probably already passed by now. Maybe we're gonna start looking into shock territory.
You know, I'm trying to think of the best way to play this, and I don't think I'm good enough to be able to know what the best way to play this. But I would think this track is going to be good for version 2 because they've tried front running. We've mentioned before their front running prowess with their time trial players, their really high level of skill. But as we saw in Braun and Flank Clove, it's just not working out that way. They can't make use of their greatest strengths. So with this reset track in Sunset Wilds, they seem to be very knowledgeable on how to use this to their advantage. Panda takes first up in the front, I can see. A few black Yoshis in the back.
Ooh.
That might be version 2. No.
And this is interesting. Yeah, that's a huge shock there. Also, gonna have to force their ghost now as well and not take that cut as well. So a bullet bill in 5th place, and now having that after this ghost is insane. Because now they're gonna have that Shroom also coming out here. That bill's going to end soon because it's in 1st place. But get him in the set as well. That's absolutely criminal. But a
Dueling
double horn,
horns.
the Dragon Ball Z, the Dragon Ball Z moment happening at the end. Byron somehow gonna survive and get 2nd place. Actually,
Wow.
I don't know if Panda stole first, or if yes, Panda stole top 2, 4, 5 actually for V2, and we are once again back to the haymakers here as this war still has 2 races left to go.
You know, I really thought that was Orochi who took back first. What an incredible ghost that was. We saw, most likely, I believe, Dynamite shock. Orochi dodges in a star with a bullet bill in hand, thinking, I'm set for the rest of the race. First place is on lock. Little did Orochi know that there was a ghost waiting to steal that bill. What a steal. What a roll of the dice picking that up. And oh man, we talk about RNG in this game. Feels so bad for Dynamite, but what a comeback. What a turnaround for version 2 to secure that top 2 as close as it was. So huge as they try to mount a little bit of a comeback. As we see, as I said, DK Mountain, they love the Wave 6. Dynamite might be in trouble here.
They might be indeed. This is up your alley, honestly. So this is interesting because now it's a 24-point difference in the last 2 races. And we've seen what's happened before where V2 I think had a plus 34. We've seen a plus 28 for Dynamite as well. A lot of races actually had at least 24 points being made. And on DK Mountain, a course where Cannon really determines the item play and really shakes that up entirely. And the top spots could also, after this cannon, honestly, can just like break away if they know how to play it. This is going to be shape up for a very interesting section here as we see what happens here to start off on DK Mountain.
Getting up to the front on this track is really important, and I believe version 2 has full confidence that they can get up to the front and stay in the front through the first lap. You were talking about the importance of the cannon and its effects on the item set. But what's really important to me, more important item set than the cannon set, or that one right before the cannon, is the last set. Because just of how much track the Nisk cuts off. Oh, very unfortunate mistake from Byron. Falls off. You hate to see that, as holding a front presence is actually really important on this track, volatile as it is. The last set, as I was saying, the person first takes the Nisk, it cuts off so much track. Game considers you so much farther ahead than you actually are that the last set becomes so powerful, giving people in the bottom spots power items. We're talking blue shell, shock, all on lap 1, and we might see an early shock here. That's a big lead being held by Panda.
Yeah, and Panda was blued also, so that's an interesting development there. Now you do see Byron having the star in the pocket now. Now often to go for for those half pipe sets. Doesn't get it there, but at least has 10 coins now. Going to be able to get into double here, and with the distance that's being had at that last set, we're gonna hope that they can potentially pull something. We have surprisingly, never mind, we are going to see a shock here on the end of lap 2, beginning of lap 3. Before the cannon, though, I'm not sure who exactly who shock that was, but I do see a 910 from Dynamite as well, as Panda's still holding first for V2. The ending of this race is going to be absolutely critical here. Cece has found herself into 6th place. Nick in 4th with a bullet bill as well. Paradox, though,
Oh my goodness.
that's a huge shock once again, and you know that's one of the most critical, most important shock spots in this game to know. And we are going to be in for an potentially crazy ending. Panda's still holding on into 1st place. Cece just trying to stay alive here as well. A lot of stuff happening in the mid pack where a lot of things are going to be chaotic. Paradox having that plant now, just trying to just do wonders here. But that bullet bill also from Cece just got to spam that, try and just escape some spots. Byron got to get hit out by that bill, and this is looking to be one crazy race once we see this result screen come up.
Wow. The chaos was palpable in the end of that. I 30 there's no way 30 seconds passed between those shocks, right?
It didn't feel
I
like it, no.
It didn't feel like it felt like somebody dodged with shock and we just didn't see it. But regardless, huge shock usage from Dynamite. That was some middle spots from them, I believe, right? 2, 3, 4 ish. Yes, 2, 3,
Yes.
4, 6, 7, 10 from Dynamite. Somewhat middling race, but a little bit in the positive direction for Dynamite on a track that I predicted version 2 would really show up at and put on a good performance. And now version 2 is really grasping at straws here. They need a big race. They need, dare I say it, a miracle. Do they have it in them? Or does Dynamite get their first win of the season?
And we are seeing some picks being had here. Neo Bowser City from the side of Dynamite also, it looks like a DY here. And we also see some Baby Park picks, which makes sense. That's a traditional anti-top 6 course, for better or for worse. We are going to be going to Moo Moo Meadows, though, a course where you can have some big races here, and shock is surprisingly it's devastating when it happens, but it doesn't happen too often because of the shorter nature of this course. Shrooming up in those middle spots becomes absolutely insane, and you see that V2 does have a lot of back spots. That 5th also, as well as 1st place being held by Panda. So this opening section really will determine everything. And here on lap 1, where a shroom can really determine your outcome of this race, or just getting shoved off into the grass. What's going to happen here? You're going to see Cece go over shroom wide so they can still secure this double box. Going to pull double shroom, not ideal. And with a lot of players getting hit out, this is already shaped up to be a crazy race, but it does look like that Dynamite still has at least enough top presence to hold on.
Bunch of Dynamite in the back have to be thinking, do you go for shock here? Is the pack, is the front too far gone? No, I don't think so. I don't think you have to make a desperation move like backing for shock. I don't think so. I think they have the firepower to keep up. I think this is the right move, just keeping the pack tight, effectively putting the shock out of play. Speaking of play, there's that mid-pack play again. Byron getting hit by that fire, losing 3 coins, might be the difference in gaining or losing a few spots at the very end. We shall see.
Yeah, we will see indeed as we are coming into this last section. You do see a lot of V2 up, but Dynamite still has 1st place, and that will do everything. That will just end it outright. But the red shell is not going to connect, and this first shell, this first place will be enough, as Dynamite is going to be able to secure their first win of this season. And that's a great way for them to be able to do so, to get back onto the board, get onto the winning side of things here, as Rog, however they say it, has had an absolutely amazing performance with that 102, MVPing the room. And big congratulations to Dynamite for securing the win here at prime time at night.
Dynamite absolutely earned this win. The mid-pack play, they got a lot of shocks, which some might consider fortunate, but they went for those. It was all on purpose, and they used it well every single time. Really well played using the items and opportunities Dynamite was given. Well played. And also fair play to version 2. They played a very strong game, very strong frontal presence, but Dynamite was able to consistently figure out a way to hit them out of those top spots, which is exactly what they needed to do. And Dynamite tonight, they did it.
That's like honestly great job from Dynamite tonight, pulling off what was arguably seen as an upset win. But the best thing here about this community is that we still have more MKU prime times coming up tomorrow after the regularly scheduled matches. We have a D4 match, United Brothers against Nightfall, two great teams in their own right. But with have some amazing talent on both sides. I'm really excited for that matchup, and I'm hoping that a lot of you will tune in for that one as well.
And remember, we're in the middle of interconference play. And though you're not facing teams in your own division, every single, or own conference rather, same division, different, every single match, every single race matters. And you won't want to miss this one. It's going to be a very important match between these two teams.
Absolutely, but I think that is going to wrap it up for us here tonight with Prime Time. And I want to shout out to Cat Wario for running the stream. Always great to have them here. And Bubbles, thank you again for casting. I know you don't do the whole social media thing, correct?
No, I'm on Twitter. I don't use it much, but feel free.
That is valid. Well, if you want to follow me on
I'll
Twitter, you
plug
can
it.
find me at
Yeah, follow
you can
Spicy.
find me at
He's more important.
I doubt that, but you can find me on Twitter at 2SpicyBM or twitch.tv/SpicyBM. I'm so used to doing the whole like the whole plugging thing at the end of my block. So it's just like naturally part of me. But hey, Bubbles, if you want to plug your Twitter, feel free to.
Maybe next time. But speaking of next time, we'll see you all tomorrow, right here, for more prime time. And with that, I'm Bubbles with my co host Spicy signing off. We'll see y'all tomorrow.